And hello, everyone. I'm Bill Tucker, back filling in for Steve tonight. My next guest is Michael Cutler. He's a former INS special agent who logged 30 years plus in the immigration enforcement. Michael, before we get to you and get your thoughts, I am going to set up this conversation with a piece of sound from Hillary Clinton talking about Syrian refugees. I'll bet you dollars to donuts this soundbite makes you as mad as it makes me. Here's what she had to say.
We have always welcomed immigrants and refugees. We have made people feel that if they did their part, they sent their kids to school, they worked hard, there'd be a place for them in America. And now, you know, with this new refugee crisis, of course we have to have a lot of vigilance and we have to vet people, but we can't act as though we're shutting the doors to people in need without undermining who we are as Americans and the values we have stood for.
So, Michael Cutler, it seems that everybody has a right to immigrate to America. I give you the floor. What say you?
And I will walk away with it. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Bill. Always good to join you. You know, it's remarkable. And you know, by the way, I happen to be Jewish. For your Jewish viewers, I wish everybody a happy, healthy, safe, peaceful New Year. My mother came here ahead of the Holocaust. I was named for my grandmother who was slaughtered in Poland because of our religion during the war. I've always been a supporter of political asylum. However, we've never had a situation like we are in today where we can't vet these folks, and we know that among them are those that want to kill us. We've been told by the head of the CIA that ISIS has been embedding terrorists in the refugee flows coming out of Syria and the Middle East. We've heard from James Comey, the head of the FBI. We cannot vet these people because we have nobody on the ground. Syria certainly is not going to cooperate and turn over records to us, and he actually paints a picture of Syria being a failed state. If you look at the 9/11 Commission report, to which, by the way, I provided testimony, it was through various failures of the immigration system, the visa process, which, by the way, Hillary Clinton ran when she was Secretary of State. If anyone should be familiar with it, it ought to be Hillary, you would think. But if you look at the visa process, if you look at the lack of enforcement of the immigration laws from within the interior of the United States, if you look at visa fraud, if you look at the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, the Inspector General found that at least 800 plus aliens who had been ordered deported, many from countries that sponsor terrorism, were actually granted United States citizenship. Given all that for the backdrop, how in the world does anybody who purports to represent America and Americans willingly put American lives and national security at risk the way she does?
That's true, and I want to talk about that more, but I want to make this point really clearly so that the viewers understand what it is that has me upset. American immigration policy is not for somebody else. It is for us. It is for us as Americans and American citizens. All of our great diversity, all of our religious, racial, ethnic, what have you. We are a tremendously diverse country which exists for the purpose of us first, others second. Yes, we want to take your tired and your weary and those yearning to be free. But we can't always do it. There's no right implicit into that. And for exactly the reasons you were talking about. We don't have it. There is no incentive. In fact, the incentive, Mike, and you've talked about this a lot before, the incentive actually is to not investigate because you have, as I understand it, agents are given a quota. They are rewarded for meeting that quota and punished if they say, I don't know, you know, these people don't look right. We need to look a little deeper into them.
Right. Well, and you know, I spent a year as an adjudications officer, and it takes a lot less time to approve an application than to deny one. Minutes to approve one, it can take days or longer to deny one because now you've got to get the evidence together. You have to write an official denial that stands legal scrutiny. It's a laborious process. So if you're trying to clear the backlogs, you get out that approval stamp and you work it to death. And let's remember that our immigration laws were enacted for two primary purposes: protect American lives and the jobs of American workers. And then that's the issue that's really been overlooked. They talk about sanctuary cities as protecting aliens. In fact, they're shielding them from detection by the federal government.
Well, and it's interesting too, Mike, you know, the federal courts today handed down a defeat to Governor Mike Pence and other Republican governors out there who had challenged the orders from Obama that they had to accept Syrian refugees. The court basically saying, no, it doesn't work that way. You have to take it. You do not have the freedom to exercise your right of refusal to take it. What do you think about that?
I think it's crazy. Those chief executives of those states have the survival and the safety of their citizens is a part of their key responsibilities. Knowing what we know about the failures of the immigration system, it's understandable that they're concerned. You know, I'm an affiant in a lawsuit right now that's going through the courts in South Carolina. Mm-hmm. We have got to put American lives first. That's what we're really looking to do. And what's remarkable, and I just wrote an article for Front Page Magazine, how Comey is predicting a tsunami of terrorists heading for the United States. And we know that they're either going to be running our borders or entering through international airports, looking to embed themselves throughout our country. Yeah. And so how in the world do we ignore all of that when we're dealing with people coming to America when we probably won't know who we're actually letting in?
Mike, I gotta jump in here. We have less than a minute left. Okay. What do you think about the Supreme Court yesterday saying to Obama, no, we're not going to rehear your immigration case. You don't have the executive authority to do that. And what are the implications, say, if we were to get Hillary Clinton as president?
Well, they're holding it off because they're short one judge. Obviously, the next president will fill that seat and probably a couple more along the way. And we know what Hillary's going to do. She has already complained that Obama's been too tough, supposedly, on immigration, wants to amp up the number of refugees. I guarantee you that the only way that a Supreme Court justice would be nominated by her would be if that person agrees with the Obama policies of opening the borders. Yeah. It would be catastrophic for national security. That alone is a major thing that all Americans should be thinking about when they go to vote. Do you want to take down our borders?
I'm going to have to cut you off, Mike. You're right, and the people need to consider it. Thank you so much, Mike. It's always good to see you.
Thanks.
Well, once again, Governor Jerry Brown and the state of California have proven just how ridiculous they are when it comes to overregulation and government meddling. Watch this. California Governor Jerry Brown must love living up to his nickname, Governor Moonbeam. On September 20th, 2016, he signed a bill into law to regulate cow farts. By 2030, emissions have to be reduced by 40%. The California Air Resources Board's reaction was there's no way to achieve this reduction. The National Federation of Independent Businesses called it a direct assault on California's dairy industry. With California producing 20% of our nation's milk supply, it also feels like an assault on consumers who will see milk prices rise as a result. And why stop at milk? Other sources of methane include landfills, hydroelectric dams, composting, rice paddies, semiconductor manufacturing, microbes in the ocean. Volcanoes are a huge source of methane. And it's not just dairy cows, by the way. Pretty much all animals spew methane. Researchers in Argentina say they have the answer, at least when it comes to cows. Cow backpacks, which researchers claim can capture the gas to be used to generate electricity. There's just one problem. A study published in 2007 learned that 92 to 98% of the methane from a dairy cow doesn't come out behind. The hot air comes out of their mouths. Who knew politicians and cows had so much in common? Bill Tucker, Newsmax, New York.